Olam chesedi bana, yadadai dai dai, yadadai dai. Olam chesedi bana, yadadai dai dai, yadadai dai. Olam chesedi bana. Yada da da da, yada da da. Olam chesedi bana. Yada da da da, yada da da. I will build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da. And you will build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da. And if we build this world from love, yada da da da, yada da da, then God will build this world from love. Yada da da da, yada da da.
The arc of evening slowly turning. The sun's blue shadows washed away. The gates still open as 3 stars wait to pierce the sky in the corridor where night bears its maze. You begin to begin again. Inel Yeshuati Aftach V'lo Afcha. Ki Azir Zimrat Ya Adonai V'Hili Lishua. Usaf Tamayim B'Sason. Mimayne HaYeshua. Adonai HaYeshua. Alamcha Birchatecha Sela. Adonai Tzvot Imanu. Miskavlanu Elohei Yaakov Sela. Adonai Tzvaot Ashrei Adam Boteach Bach. Adonai Hoshia. Hamelach Anenu v'yom karenu. La Yehudim haytaora v'simcha v'sason v'ikar. Ken ti'eh lanu kos Yeshuot ata. Desa uv'shem Adonai ekra. As Shabbat departs, let us celebrate the sweetness of a new week, even though we begin with this moment of sadness for Tisha B'Av. And we turn to the blessing for wine. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei peri hagafen. Borei peri hagafen. Blessed are you, boundless one, sovereign of all worlds, who creates the fruit of the vine. On the next page. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Borei minei v'samim. Borei minei v'samim. Borei Mine v'samim. Blessed are you, reviver, sovereign of all worlds, who creates various kinds of spices. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech borei ma'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh. Blessed are you, radiant one, sovereign of all worlds, who creates the light of the fire. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol ben or l'choshech, ben Yisrael la'amin, ben yom hashvi'i l'sheshet yemei ha'ma'aseh. Baruch atah Adonai, hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. Ben kodesh l'chol, hatotenu imcho, zarenu v'chaspenu, yarbe kachol, v'chachochavim balayla. Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov, Shavua tov. A good week, a week of peace. Make gladness reign and joy increase. Back one page. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hatishbi. Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. Bimhera v'yamenu.
Yavo Eleinu. Mashiach ben David. Mashiach ben David. Eliyahu Hanavi. Eliyahu Hatishbi. Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi.
As we return to the podium, take a moment on the background page about Tisha B'Av, if you will. If you see the page which is marked Ma'ariv evening service, and after the fire, a still small voice, eternal God, you give meaning to our days, to our struggles and strivings. In the stillness of the night and in the press of the crowd, yours is the voice within that brings peace. In our darkness, be our light, and in our loneliness, help us to discover the many souls akin to our own. Give us strength to face life with courage, to draw blessing even from its discords and conflicts.
Help us to understand that life calls us not merely to enjoy the richness of the earth, but to exult in heights gained after the toil of climbing.
O God, let our darkness be dispelled by your love, that we may rise above fear and failure. You give meaning to our days. You are our support
and our trust.
Adonai Hoshia, Hamelech Yanenu v'yom karenu. We rise and we face the empty ark.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam Asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim B'chokhmah poteach sha'arim U'vitvuna meshane itim U'machalif et hazmanim Mesader et hachochavim U'mishmaroteya barakia kirtzono Borei yom v'leila Kolel or mitnei choshech V'hoshech mitnei or U'ma'avir yom u'mevi laila U'mavdil ben yom u'vein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo El Chai v'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Leolam Vaed. Baruch Ata Adonai Hama'ariv. We remain standing but face each other. Since my arrival in 2017, when Tisha B'Av and Hurricane Supplication Day occurred on the same day, we have engaged in the custom of including prayers for Virgin Islands Hurricane Supplication Day, together with the Tisha B'Av service. The psalmist proclaims with confidence and faith, "We shall not fear, though earth itself shall shake, though the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though the waters roar and foam, and the hills quake from the force of the waves. Yet surely we do fear to face the raw power of the world. We tremble in awe, and our own hearts leap as darkness comes and the wind and water hurl themselves against the will and world we have built. Shield us, O God, against the full fury of such force. Be with us to lead us through chaos." It is called an act of God, but it is God we call upon to be with us in the midst of the storm, and better yet, in hope that the storms of sea will pass us by again. For many years, this congregation has lifted its voice and lent the power of our prayers to the supplication of this season. We have united with the men and women of goodwill on this island and beyond in common hope and purpose. And yet we have been hit and hurt, and we are still recovering. A safe harbor is the hope of all who face the sea. May it be so for us now and forevermore.
May this season, faced with so many other challenges, yet still spare us the force of nature and the destructive power of the raging storms. Baruch Ata Adonai, Shomea Tefillah.
Blessed are you, Eternal One, who hears our voice and hearkens to prayer. At the bottom of the next page, eternal love, you said in a promise to your people Israel. Too many times, though, we have doubted, and too many times we have had reason to doubt. Where are you, O God, amidst the pain and loss? Where are you in our battles and bruises, in the times we have cried out loud and heard no response? So we have tried to stay true to Torah and mitzvot and our life and length of days. We have reflected and found hope in the assertion that your love shall never depart from us. Baruch Ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael. Blessed are you, Eternal One, who loves your people, Israel.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam
You may be
Vaed.
seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובדרכך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם דעות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך
ובישעריך, למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים ללכם. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני, אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem emet. True and faithful is this enduring for us, that you are Adonai our God, there is none else, and we are Israel, your people. The special prayer for Erev Tisha B'Av. We stand this night, we live in this era between remembrance and redemption. We have witnessed, or perhaps it was our parents and grandparents who saw the darkest moments of our Jewish journey, one of the worst times in all of history. With ages past, we have known loss and mourning, heartache and hatred. And yet we have seen a fading ember come back to light. The flames of the furnace transformed into a beacon of hope. Mourn, we are taught, for Jerusalem lost, but she has been restored anew. A vibrant city, a dream attained, a flight, or given where we live, several flights away. What note should we sound on this sad day? We want the words we say and the world we see to have some connection with each other. So this night, yes, we remember the past, pain and sorrow, destruction and loss. We observe, but for some of us, not quite in the way we once did. Some may fast, and some may simply remember. But for us, we know this night is one of history and of hope, of destruction, but also of renewal. We pray and we say these words of redemption. Malchuto v'ratzon kiblu alehem Moshe u'Miriam u'vnei Yisrael ha'anu shira b'simcha rabba v'amru chulam.
מי כמוך בעלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש. נורא תהילות אוסף אלה, נורא תהילות אוסף אלה. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקעים לפני משה ומרים, זה ליאנו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך, אדוני ימלוך, לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, ובלום יד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל.
Amen. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, v'hamidenu malkeinu l'chaim, ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha. Grant our eternal God that we may lie down in peace, and raise us up, our sovereign, to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace, guide us for your good counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from hatred and plague. Keep us from war and famine and anguish. Subdue our inclination to evil. God, our guardian and helper, our gracious and merciful ruler, give us refuge in the shadow of your wings. Guard our coming and our going, that now and always we have life and peace. Blessed is Adonai, guardian of your people Israel forever. Baruch atah Adonai, shomer amo Yisrael la'ad.
יתגדל ויתקדש שמרבה.
Amen.
ועמד יברך חירותי והמליך מלכותי. וחייכון וביומכון.
ובחיי דכל בית ישראל.
בגלה בגלה. ובזמן קריב. ואמרו אמן. יהי שמרה במבורך. לעולם ולעלמי המאה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתעלה, שמת קודשה ברכו, אלא מכל ברכתה ושירתה,
Tush bechata v'nechemata, Ta'aniran v'alma.
Amen.
The weekday Nusach is softer. It is less majestic, less regal than the Nusach of Shabbat. I am not an expert on it, but we will simply just sing in slightly more simple ways than we usually do on Shabbat, but use the same base of the prayer. We continue with the Amidah. The picture in front of us, this whole service printed from my PowerPoint presentation, which we used last year entirely online for this service, but we printed it out this year. The picture here is facing the last remnant of the temple, that Beit HaMikdash we remember tonight, the first one destroyed on this day by the Babylonians in the year 586 before the Common Era. The second one near this day destroyed by the Romans almost to the same day in the year 70 of the Common Era. As she faces the wall, as we rise and face the empty ark and Jerusalem, we continue.
Adonai Sifatachita Ufiyagi Tehilatecha Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Elohei Avotenu V'imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'hanora El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'kornei Hakol, V'zoker Chastei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Gula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshiach U'Magei, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Abraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechei Hakol, Atah Rav V'Loshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed, Mechayei Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofeh Koholim, Umatir Asherim, Umekayem Emunato, Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Bal Gevuros, Umido Melech, Melech Memit Umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lechayot hakol, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayeh hakol, Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, U'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalelucha salah, Baruch atah Adonai, Ha'el hakadosh.
Although we are doing this silently at this time, I invite anyone to share a name for the prayer for healing, any of the names of any of your loved ones who are ill.
Dolly Byer, Arlette Leurier,
Beverly Katz. Anyone?
Julie Epstein.
Anyone on Zoom?
Caitlin Kenny.
Julie Epstein.
Baruch atah Adonai Rofeh Cholim. We praise you, O God, who helps us heal. We continue in personal prayer.
Legion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzori vegoali. Adonai tzori vegoali. May the words of my mouth, and the meditations of my heart, be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. Yehu leratzon imrefi vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzori vegoali. Adonai tzuri vegoali.
Please be seated. We turn to the page, the gray pages, opening with the words for Erev Tisha B'Av. We gather tonight to observe Tisha B'Av, to unite as a living community, bound not only to one another, but to those who came before us. We remember the losses we have faced as a people. We do so to recapture in our hearts the pain of a people who live only within our memory. And we also do so to expand our compassion, to include suffering and loss wherever it occurs. We recall the tragic events of our history when conquerors destroyed the temple and ravaged the city of Jerusalem. Let us move back in time.
The temple is gone,
Once our people worshiped God in ways which are not our ways.
but they served a God who is still our God.
Once our people brought their offerings to the priests at the temple, finding there forgiveness for their transgressions, finding in the drama of the sacrificial service a connection to God, a sense of God's presence in their lives.
The temple was gone.
The connection was broken. The people felt bereft and abandoned.
We remember and we mourn with the people who live only in our memories.
For in Abraham Joshua Heschel's haunting words,
We are a people in whom the past endures, in whom the present is inconceivable without moments gone by. The Exodus lasted a moment enduring forever. What happened once upon a time happens all the time.
Look at our empty ark and remember. Look at that emptiness and feel the pain of a people whose God has gone into exile, a people without the sense of God's love in their lives. Our sages taught that at the beginning of our history, in the time of the Bible, the 9th of Av became a day of mourning for all tragedies, all disasters for all time. The Bible tells of a time when the Israelites in the desert, hearing the report of the spies who were sent to Canaan, refused to go into the promised land. It happened, our sages said, on the 9th of Av. And so God decreed that this day as a day of remembrance and sorrow, a communal Yizkor. Nizkor, we remember. Nizkor et Chorban Habayit HaRishon. We will remember the first temple. Nizkor, we will remember the pain of exile in Babylonia. Nizkor, we will remember the destruction of the second temple. We will remember the fighters of Masada. We will remember the expulsion from Spain and the Inquisition which followed. We will remember the pogroms. We will remember the last communities of Europe.
We will remember those who died to defend the state of Israel.
We will remember all who suffered because they were Jews.
Our tradition teaches us not to be indifferent.
On this Tisha B'Av Eve, let us turn to the pain of our past. Let us turn the pain of our past into openness and sensitivity to the pain of others. We are streaming, so we want a microphone, but I am going to see how we do. Who has a very loud voice? Go ahead, Carol, loudly. Now, on August 6th,
On this Virgin Islands Hurricane Supplication Day, on this territory where, literally, the earth itself does shake, we remember tragedy closer to home. We remember the sister storms of 2017. But we also remember Haiti. Not too long ago, a 7.0 magnitude earthquake in Haiti left 300,000 people dead, 1.5 million homeless. The numbers take our breath away, but do they touch our hearts? Viola lost consciousness when a wall fell on top of her in Port-au-Prince. She woke in the hospital days later with a rounded stump where her right leg used to be. Now she lives with constant pain and uncertainty that as a single mother, she will be able to support her teenage daughter. Earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, and now a pandemic, a virus. These are forces of nature. They are beyond our control. But then, this.
the diameter of the bomb was 30 centimeters, and the diameter of the destruction about 7 meters. And in it, 4 killed and 11 wounded. And around these, in a larger circle of pain and time, are scattered 2 hospitals and 1 cemetery. But the young woman who was buried in the place from where she came at a distance of more than 100 kilometers enlarges the circle considerably. And the lonely man who is mourning her death in a distant country incorporates into the circle the whole world. And I won't speak of the cry of the orphans that reach God's chair and from there makes the circle endless and godless. We hear now, with Layla's help, words chanted from the first chapter of the book of Echa, the book of Lamentations. I tried chanting this myself earlier, and I know that Tisha B'Av is a time of pain and suffering, but I wasn't going to do that to you. So we hear professionally chanted words of Echa chapter 1.
Echa yashva vadar, hayir bat yam, hayta kialmana, rabati
We are
vagoyi,
not hearing anything.
sarati bamdinot, hayta lamas, bachotif ke balayla, bedimata alechaya, Ein la menachem mikol ahaveha קוראיה בגדובה, היו לה לאויבים. גלתה יהודה מעוני ומרוב עבודה, היא ישבה בגויים, לא מצאה מנוח. קורותפיה השיגוה בין המצרים, דרכי ציון אבלות, מבלי באב מועד, כל שעריה שוממים, כהניה נאנחים, בתולותיה נוגות, והיא מרלה. היו צריה לראש אויביה שאלו, כי אדוני הוגה על רוב פשעיה, עולליה, החושבי לפני צר, ויצא מבת ציון כל הדרה. היו שריה, כי האיילים לא מצאו מרעה, וילכו ולא כוח לפני רודף. זכרה ירושלים.
So I am getting texts in the middle here, which I have to tell you, to those of you on Zoom, we'll have to try to give you the text number of whoever is running tech support. It's practically impossible for me to juggle all of these things at once. But some of the things I am hearing is that the chanting was not heard on Zoom. Can somebody tell me, did you hear that?
We can hear it.
Did anyone hear the chanting?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Then
I heard it.
proceed because we have one more of those in a moment. In English, which I will read because Carol was loud enough to be heard here, but not through the mic. So, alas, lonely, well, Talia, you can help. Alas, lonely sits the city, once great with people. She that was great among nations is become like a widow. The princess among states is become a thrall.
Bitterly she weeps in the night, her cheek wet with tears. There is none to comfort her of all her friends. All her allies have betrayed her. They have become her foes.
Judah has gone into exile because of misery and harsh oppression. When she settled among the nations, she found no rest. All her pursuers overtook her in the narrow places.
Zion's roads are in mourning, empty of festival pilgrims. All her gates are deserted. Her priests sigh, her maidens are unhappy. She is utterly disconsolate.
Her enemies are now the masters. Her foes are at ease because the Lord afflicted her for her many transgressions. Her infants have gone into captivity before the enemy.
Gone from fair Zion are all that were her glory. Her leaders were like stags that found no pasture. They could only walk feebly before the pursuer.
All the precious things she had in days of old, Jerusalem recalled in her days of woe and sorrow. When her people fell by enemy hands with none to help her, when enemies looked on and gloated over her downfall.
Jerusalem has greatly sinned, therefore she has become a mockery. All who admired her despise her, for they have seen her disgraced, and she can only sigh and shrink back.
You are welcome to take this service with you, or if you leave it here, we may be able to reuse it. It is your choice, but what you have before you in the next 2 pages is simply the rest of chapter 1. It is a short book, Lamentations, if you choose to read it on your own, only 4 chapters. But we will continue now with the second setting. This is for those who are on Zoom. This is a video and there are English subtitles in the video, but the Hebrew is on the page in front of us and the translation, the page after that. One of the keynote, one of the laments, one of the most famous of all of them for Tisha B'Av, Eli Tzion v'areha, kamo isha b'tzireha. Mourn Zion and her cities like a woman in her birth pains. We listen now to the words of Eli Tzion, sung by the Israeli Rona Kanan.
Eli Tzion ועריה כמו אישה בציריה, וכיפתו לך גורצה על בעל נעוריה, עלי ארמון אשר נוטש בהשמצון עדריה, ועל ביאת מחרפי אל בתוך מקדש חדריה, עלי גלות משרתי אל נעימי שיר זמריה, ועל דמם אשר שופך כמו מימי יאוריה. עלי גבי מלכיה, בני דוד גביריה, ועל יופיים אשר חשך בעת שרו כתריה, עלי שמך אשר חולל בפי קמי מצריה, ואל תחן יצב חולה קשור שמה ומראה. אלי ציון ועריה כמו אישה בציריה, וכיפתו לך גורצה על בעל נעוריה.
From Psalm 23. Mizmor LeDavid, Adonai ro'i lo aksar, bin odesha yarabitzeni, almein menuchot yinahaleni. The eternal God is my shepherd, I shall not want. God makes me lie down in green pastures, leads me beside the still waters. God restores my soul, leads me in paths of righteousness for God's name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. Surely goodness and kindness shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Shamayim ba'aretz, Ezri, Me'im Adonai, Oseh, Shamayim ba'aretz.
Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago.
Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls pick them every one. When will they ever learn? When will they ever learn? long time ago. Where have all the young girls gone? Partners,
Gone
gone for partners, everyone. When will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? Skipping one verse. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the soldiers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the soldiers gone? Gone to graveyards, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time passing. Where have all the graveyards gone? Long time ago. Where have all the graveyards gone? Gone to flowers, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? Where have all the flowers gone? Long time passing. Where have all the flowers gone? Long time ago. Where have all the flowers gone? Young girls have picked them, everyone. Oh, when will they ever learn? Oh, when will they ever learn? As we continue with Aleinu, we rise and we face the empty ark.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת קדושה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו שוגי הארצות, ולא שמענו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים, לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please remain standing, but we face each other. שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בגובה מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס סעודתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים, בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת, אין עוד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא, כי אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Star up above, so far away we only see their light. Long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we love. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up
the darkest night. These are the lights that guide us as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember as we live our days. These are the ways we remember. We remember.
It is not Shabbat, so we would not customarily use our weekly list. But if there is anybody here or on Zoom who is in mourning for somebody for whom it is Shiva at this time, or for a recent death, you may share the name at this time. I add the name Hyla Babin. Anyone on Zoom? And yes, of course, Jackie, coming back to Alfreda, Jacqueline, Thomas. And I still owe you a service, a hard copy. Kaddish Yatom, the second to last page. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach yirukei v'yamlich malkutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. Al shmei tekudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechamata. Ve'amal v'yimru amen. Yehi shlama Rabbah min Shemaya. V'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav. V'ya'aseh shalom. Kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimru. Amen. Source of peace, send peace to all who mourn among us, to Jackie, to those who are in Shiva, to those who are in immediate mourning, to all who have lost loved ones in this terrible time of loss. And together, may we not only find comfort from others, but may we be a source of comfort. And together, let us say, Amen.
Oh Lord,
May you have a meaningful day.